Hello, hello. Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to season 2 of Let's Talk About Real Estate here at Double Play Podcast. I am Hector Rivera. I am a real estate agent with Keller Williams Real Estate or Realty Southlake here in Texas. Um, Thank you guys for hopping on, or for those who are about to hop on. I appreciate that. What I'm going to go through today is I'm just going to talk a little bit about myself. One, two, I'm going to talk about if today is a good time to buy. So is now a good time to buy or not? Um, and then I will be talking about the buying process, the 6 steps to the buying process. And then I do have a video that is going to confirm why now is a good time to buy. And I know a lot of people have that question or have questioned that. So I will be touching base on all of that. If give me a second here. I just want to make sure that everything is streaming as it needs to. But yeah, once again, I will be talking about a little bit about myself today. And I will be talking a little bit about uh, the buying process and why it's a good time to buy, right? So, once again, welcome to Double Play Podcast. Let's talk about real estate. My name is Hector Rivera. Once again, my name is Hector Rivera. I am bendición, Dios te bendiga, Dios te bendiga. I am a real estate agent here with Keller Williams. So I am a real estate agent here with Keller Williams Realty, Southlake, Texas. I've been in real estate for it's gonna be 6 years, going on 6 years here in November. I started with Southlake, with Keller Williams Southlake, and have maintained with Keller Williams Southlake. I do have a team, hence the Hector Rivera Group, um, and we just kind of dedicate ourselves to obviously providing great service. I think that's a given, especially if you're um, in the service industry. Providing great service is a given. So I think what makes us different from any other real estate group is that it's where you become family. It's where we engage and inclusive. We are hey guys, how you doing? My sons are actually on. So it's where we just kind of talk about and discuss, or we build those relationships with our clients. So and sorry, I'm just looking at the video that I'm going to be posting here shortly. But yeah, so I've been doing this for about 6 years. Love helping people out. I've been in the service industry for many years. I was a mailman for the U.S. Postal Service in Puerto Rico for 12 years. I was a hotel operations manager for about 7 years. And I've been doing real estate for 6 years. So I pride myself in building relationships uh, with my clients. And it's just where you become family. It's just, to me, that's important because family is important. So, uh, question everybody's asking is now a good time to buy? Um, Now is still a great time to buy. And why do I say that? And I'll show you guys a video here shortly. The reason I say that is because although people feel like interest rates are high, they actually aren't high. It's just that when COVID hit, obviously the interest rates dropped to maintain the economy, and people got used to the 2 and 3% interest rates. But in reality, if you look at the average of the last 10 to 15 years, we were in that 6% kind of range. And I don't even want to go before that. I mean, there were years before that, 20 years ago or more, that interest rates were actually at like 18 or 19%. So are interest rates high? No, they are pretty much back to where they were. Now there are some strategies that we can structure to help with that. A lot of financial institutions or mortgage companies offer what's called a 2-1 buy down, which means that the seller will buy down your interest rate for the first couple years. And it's called a 2-1 because if we're at a 6.5 interest rate, you're going to pay a 4.5 the first year, a 5.5 the second year, and then you go up to a 6.5 the third year, right? So 2-1 buy down. Some offer a 3-1 buy down. So it just depends on the institution or the mortgage company and what they provide. So those are some ways that you can kind of work your way around what you guys call high interest rates, right? And the thing is, if you're doing a 2-1 buy down, when you hit year 2 or even 3, if interest rates go down, you just refinance, right? And you get the lower interest rate, but you maintain that sales price on the home when you purchased it. If interest rates go up in 2 or 3 years, then you're locked in at an interest rate. So you don't have to worry about your interest rate going up, right? So those are some opportunities for buyers to continue to purchase now, get the home at the price now, and then work on the interest rate. Remember, marry the home, date the interest rate. Marry the home, date the interest rate. Interest rates, you can change them. You can refi, get lower rates, but you really can't change that price point, right? So you got to marry the price point and then just date the interest rate. So before I step into, and if anybody has questions, feel free to enter those in the chat. But before I step into what the 6 steps to the buying process is, whether you're a first-time home buyer, whether it's your 10th home, whether you're an investor, the steps are pretty similar, right? So, but before I go into that, I wanted to show a video of, for those of you who know Barbara Corcoran, she is on Shark Tank. She is an amazing agent. She has built her business. She's a real estate mogul, right? So I am giving her. I do have a slit from a video that I saw the other day. So let me turn my headphones on so I can hear it and make sure it's working. But I do have a slit from one of her videos here. Give me a second.
So you know what the question I'm asked every day of my life is, now a good time to buy a house? And you know what? Nobody thinks it is. But I'm going to tell you
Let me know if you
else.
can hear that or not.
What's holding everybody back is the higher interest rates. They don't seem so high to me. So I remember 18, 19%. So remember, they could go higher. But the most important thing is, once you wait until interest rates go down, all hell is going to break loose. Everybody who's been thinking about buying a house is going to be out looking, overbidding every house. The prices are going to go through the roof. So pick your poison. High interest rates now, which aren't so high, or super high prices once they come down. Your choice.
I'll let that play again.
So you know what the question I'm asked every day of my life is, now a good time to buy a house? And you know what? Nobody thinks it is, but I'm going to tell you something else. What's holding everybody back is the higher interest rates. They don't seem so high to me. So I remember 18, 19%. So remember, they could go higher. But the most important thing is, once you wait until interest rates go down, all hell is going to break loose. Everybody who's been thinking about buying a house is going to be out looking, overbidding every house. The prices are going to go through the roof. So pick your poison. High interest rates now, which aren't so high, or super high prices once they come down. Your choice. So you know what the question I'm asked every day of my life is, now a good time to buy a house? And you know what? Nobody thinks it is, but I'm going to.
Great video there by Barbara, and she makes a point. And I've been telling everybody this for the last year. People who are interested in buying, they've contacted me and asked me if today's a good time. It's always a good time to buy. Once again, and I'll go through this in the presentation, but if you're currently, let's say, and I'll have it visualized in the presentation, but if we're currently at a 6.5 interest rate, and you're looking at houses in the $400,000 range, let's say, you're going to pay about 3,000. And this is me guesstimating, right? You're going to pay about $3,000 a monthly mortgage. If you wait till interest rates drop to about 4.5, let's say, you know how many people are going to be bidding on that same house. So now what you would have paid 400,000 on that home, now you're paying 450, 460. Back a couple years ago, I mean, I remember people offering 50, 60, 70,000 over list price. So if you don't have that amount of money saved, that's going to be a tough market for you. It's going to be a tough market for you to get in and be able to secure a home. Not only that, but you're overbidding on a home at a lower interest rate, and your monthly mortgage is going to be similar to what you would be paying today at a 6.5 and getting the house at list price. So, and once again, I have a screen here on my presentation that shows that. Once again, there are estimates, but it shows that, whether you're at once again, I don't want to use high because we're not at a high interest rate, but if you're at today's interest rate, you have the opportunity to secure homes. Now, are we still in multiple offer situations on homes? On some homes, yes, but you're competing maybe against 2, 3 offers at most. A year and a half ago to 2 years ago, you were competing against like 30 to 40 offers. So your offer had to be extremely strong to be able to even compete with some of the offers out there. So if you're only competing against 2 or 3 offers, the percentages speak for itself on the potential for you to be the better offer, if that makes sense. So definitely is a good time. You should never wait to purchase a home. A lot of people, I want to wait. And once again, we had Miss Barbara Corcoran in that video. I'll show the video later on as well for those of you who have joined just recently. But I'm going to go real quick to what that process is. So first step of the process, and I'm going to speak a little bit about this before I start going into the presentation. But the first step of the process is find a realtor. Find a realtor to help you out, whether it's myself or any other real estate agent or realtor. Why? Because we have the knowledge and the expertise to help guide you through the process. We have the information that'll allow you to make better decisions or have a better perspective to make that better decision, right? So we've negotiated with experience before. We can do it again. So I don't, and I consider myself a handyman here in the house, and you can ask my wife. And our dryer broke down a couple years ago, and I went on YouTube and I looked it up, and I was able to fix it, right? But if I have any issues with my vehicles, I even if I go on YouTube and find out how to do it, I probably wouldn't feel secure enough either way to do it, because now I'm driving in a vehicle that I don't know if I fixed the right way. And it can be a danger just for myself, my family, or even I put other people at risk, right? So, and it's a big investment. A vehicle is a big investment. Now, when you're talking about a dryer, I can fix a dryer. If it doesn't work out, then I can just go buy a new one. It's not too expensive. But when you're talking about vehicles in your home, you actually want to be able to confide in somebody who can help you and guide you through the process and take some of that stress off. It is a stressful situation, purchasing a home. And we can alleviate some of that stress by providing you the information, by helping you through the process. If you jump into this without knowing, I mean, you don't know what step 2 is, or what step 3 is, or what happens when you go under contract, right? what am I supposed to do now? Or when does the inspection take place? Or how do I negotiate repairs? So there's a lot of things that we will help you through and guide you through the process when it comes to this, right? So you definitely want to find a real estate agent, whether it's myself or anybody else. We do speak Spanish here at the Hector Rivera Group. So si hablas español, te podemos ayudar igual. Proveemos ese servicio y te conectamos también con las fuentes adecuadas o los vendors adecuados o las casas de hipoteca. También conocemos gente que habla en español en esos aspectos también. So te podemos conseguir lo que necesitas y ayudarte por el proceso también. Back to English, but yeah, so find a real estate agent. And I am going to switch now. I'm going to put the presentation up here just so you guys can kind of view some things. So let me just get that up here on the screen real quick. If you give me a quick moment. And I will pop that. Actually, I kind of want to go to this view here. So once again, thank you guys for being here. So I just want to go over some few items. Before we go into any of the more steps, I just want to talk a little bit about some fears and facts about buying a home today. And it's a reality. What types of fears and facts do people have with the home buying process today? So several of these are all influenced by money. So I can't afford to buy a home right now. And in reality, until you contact a lender and they can assist you with what those numbers look like, you really don't know if you can or can't afford a home currently in this market, right? I don't have money for down payment. There are a variety of down payment programs available to all. And I say, if you heard that, I said down payment programs because they're not considered first-time homebuyer programs anymore. They're just down payment assistant programs. There are a variety of options. You would have to contact your lender to see which ones you qualify for. And I'm sure they'll give you the best option that's out there for you guys, right? So, and I can't afford to buy my dream home. If you're a first-time home buyer or even a second-time home buyer, I feel that typically first and second-time home buyers, they really can't buy that dream home off the first purchase. I've purchased 3 homes in my lifetime, and I can guarantee you that none of them have been my dream home. But by purchasing your first home, it actually gets you a step closer to your next home. So purchase it now. 4, 5, 6 years down the road, you sell that home, use the equity you've gained in that home to put down payment onto your next home, which should be an upgrade, right? You should be upgrading every time. And that's how it will get you closer and closer to your dream home. And then the last one is, and we'll touch base here, is should I wait till the market gets better? Well, when you say the market, what are you referring to, right? If you should wait till interest rates drop, I disagree with that. Once again, like Barbara mentioned in her video, if you wait till interest rates drop, you're going to have a tidal wave of buyers come back onto the market. And then you're going to be competing against 40, 50, 60 buyers per home. Trust me, I worked through that market. I helped people purchase through that market. And it's not a fun market to be in. I do have a family I helped out. And unfortunately, in that market, we lost 13 homes we put offers on. We lost them because we were getting out offered. And they weren't in a real good position to offer 50 or 60 grand above list price. Now, we did offer to pay for some of the closing costs like title policy, and we waived our home warranty. But when it comes down to it, if you're waiting till interest rates drop, you're going to be competing with a lot of buyers, and they're going to be, it's going to be a bidding war. you guys are going to be overbuying. You're going to be spending more than you should have. Like, people are going to start offering 40, 50, 60 grand above list price again on a $300,000 home. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. So I don't think you should wait. It's never the bad time. It's never a bad time to buy the right house. Okay. So just keep that in mind. I want to touch the base real quick here as well, because I did talk a little bit about this. So, and this is just scenarios, right? So, and I wouldn't say 6 months ago, this was probably more about a year ago. We were at still about 4.5, right? But, today at 450, you can potentially get it at 425 if the house has been sitting on the market for a good time. And when I say good time, now would be like a month. Before, houses were going in 2 or 3 days. House hit the market on a Thursday. By Saturday, they had 30 offers. Now you're seeing houses maintain a little longer time in the system or on the market. Sorry. So there are opportunities, or either to get it at list price or even get it a little bit below list price, depending on the home. So in this scenario, let's say we got it below list price, giving 10% down at a 6.5 interest rate, you're paying about $3,053 a month. That's including your escrow. 6 months ago, or if you're waiting for interest rates to drop, when they do drop, that same house that you eventually got at 425, people are going to be bidding 50 over. So you're going to be, the sales price is going to be about 500,000, right? So at the same 10% and at that interest rate, you're pretty much paying the same in mortgage. Once again, there are opportunities to be creative in your financing and try to get the seller to do a buy down, a 2-1 buy down. That would help you as well. So is now a good time to buy? Once again, it's never a bad time to buy the right house. So if you guys have any more questions in regards to that, please feel free to give me a call. If you don't have my number, I'll put it in the chat. But feel free to give me a call. So let's step into, I know we talked about the 6 steps, right? So here they are kind of in general, but I'm going to go into each step here, right? So find a realtor. And I kind of briefly discussed upon this, and what does a buyer agent offer to his clients, or why, right? So once again, and as I said, we act as an advisor. We'll share knowledge. We'll turn information into knowledge. We'll provide you a better perspective to make smarter decisions. We can connect you to the right sources. We'll negotiate with experience, and we have a fiduciary responsibility to you, right? And I represent you at no cost. So there's no loss for you. My commission is paid by the seller, so there's no cost to you. So find yourself a good real estate agent. Once again, whether it's myself, whether it's somebody else, please make sure you're always represented when you're purchasing a home. Second step is get financing. So you're going to need to get financing. What does that look like? You need to contact a mortgage company or a bank or a lender. Whatever you feel comfortable with. I do have some local lenders that I work with that at the end, I'll put that information up, but you'll contact them. Obviously, you're going to have to apply. You'll apply and they will run your credit. They'll run an evaluation that's called a DTI, a debt to income ratio, with what your income is and how much debt you have, and they figure out a percentage, and then it allows them to tell you, if you qualify, what you qualify for. And you always want to get a pre-qualification initially, but there are lenders that will go ahead and pre-approve you as well. That means they will send all the document and your whole file to underwriting and get it pre-approved, and they can do so even without you having a house. What this does, it actually makes your offer better when you're pre-approved, because one, it's a shorter close time. It's a 21-day close. and it's pretty powerful because your file has already been submitted to underwriting. So it's once again, it's pre-approved. It's not just pre-qualified. So there's a difference there. You can get some more information with your lender. You can call me as well for more information on that. What are some items that they're going to look for when you're applying? As far as an ID, license, passport, or social security number, you're going to need 30 days of pay stubs, last 2 years of taxes, and your last 2 W-2s. And then bank statements last 2 months so they see what type of assets you have. Now if you're self-employed, they need your last 2 years of taxes. So if you were W-2, let's say you were W-2 this year, and in March, let's say you decided or you switched to self-employed, they're going to need 2 years of self-employed taxes for that. So if you're a W-2 currently and you're thinking about buying a house and you're thinking about going self-employed, make sure you reach out to myself or a lender and get the information you need. You might want to buy the house now while you're still W-2, so then you don't have to wait those 2 years, right? So just kind of reach out and I can give you a little more information about that. If you are a veteran and are looking for a VA loan, they are going to ask for your certificate of eligibility and your DD-214. So make sure you guys have those as well. When you start this process, there's some things that you do and do not want to do. So when you start this process, you do want to continue to living where you're at. You do want to continue to make, your rent payments. You do want to continue to use your credit. You want to continue to work at your current employer. You want to continue to pay your debts. So those are things you want to continue to do, right? Things you don't want to do is you don't want to make any major purchases. You don't want to go put furniture on credit. You don't want to go purchase a vehicle while you're doing this process. It will, I don't want to say mess up, but whatever your debt to income was when you purchase something major, it's going to throw that off. So if you had pre-qualified for a $400,000 home, and while you're in this process, you decided to go buy a car, you might not qualify for the 400,000. You might only qualify for 350 now, or 2, you might not even qualify at all because your debt to income surpassed the percentage that would have qualified you for the home, which you had, but when you purchased the vehicle, it took you out of that range. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to make any large cash deposits other than your direct deposit from your work. The bank, the lender, they cannot see that you went and deposited $10,000. They want to know where that came from. So you're going to have some sort of trace of where that money came from. If it's a gift from a family member for the purchase of the home, the lender will let you know what you need to do to for that gift, right? They'll actually send you a template of a gift letter that your family can fill out and then submit that. And then your lender will let you know what's the best way to do that. The gift can be either sent directly to title or what that process looks like. So they will let you know. Don't take out new loans or don't co-sign for anybody on any of their loans during the process, right? So there are a lot of things that we should not be doing. So don't. So what's included in some of the closing costs? Obviously, your down payment. If you're doing FHA or conventional, it's 3% or 3.5. Some people put 5%, 10%, just depending on what you have saved in assets in your bank account. So just what that will determine, obviously, what your monthly mortgage is going to be too. But that's just going to determine how much you're bringing to the table. But aside from the down payment, there are some closing costs that are incurred, which are lending fees, title fees, recording fees, the appraisal, taxes and reserves and insurance reserves. So that information, all that information will be provided to you by the lender or the mortgage company or the bank that you're utilizing. All that information will be provided from the get-go. Remember, from upfront, it will be an estimate, but they should be pretty near what that is, right? So what does your monthly mortgage consist of? So that consists of your principal and interest, property taxes, and insurance, right? That would consist your monthly mortgage. I know a lot of people tell me, hey, I went on Zillow and they told me that a $300,000 home pays, $1,400 a month. Yes, because they're not taking into account property taxes and insurance. So reach out to a real estate agent, reach out to your realtor and get that information. Reach out to your lender so they can run the numbers and tell you what it's going to be. Don't go and, like I said, I have a lot of people who say, hey, I looked online, I saw this house and it costs $300,000 and they say I'm only going to pay $1,400 a month. They're in reality, they are correct, but that's just your principal and interest. Once again, they're not including your taxes and insurance. So you want to make sure that you are consulting with the right people that'll provide the correct information for you. You don't want to get into a home thinking you're going to pay 14 and now you're paying 22 because they added taxes and insurance on it, right? That's a huge difference in payment. So make sure you talk to the people that can give you the most accurate information as far as that. So once again, some of the lenders that I utilize, some of the services are down payment assistance programs, TSHAC home buyer programs, a guide to help improve your credit if you need credit assistance, a free guide to help you buy a house. Some of those loans and I'm just going with some of the pretty standard loans out there is FHA, conventional, VA. There are some people who do bank statement loans. So be on the lookout for that. We do know people who do ITIN. For those of you who have an ITIN, we do have lenders who do that as well. So we can get you there. Step three is finding your home. How do we find your home? So I know a lot of people will be searching on websites like Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia, and all those other Opendoor, all those other websites. Those other websites actually pull from our system, but the live status of the homes aren't accurate. I've had people contact me and say, hey, I found this home on, XYZ website. I want to go see it. And when I checked in my system, the house either is already under contract or it sold a month ago and they haven't updated the status of the house. So how do we help you find a home? We actually create what's called a search portal directly in our system with all the criteria that you give us as far as location, price point, bedrooms, bathrooms, garage or not, kitchen. How do you want that? I mean, we can get real detailed. I don't recommend getting that detailed, but as long as we have area, price point, bedrooms, bathrooms, we can start there. But I know people who only want gas stove houses or 2-car garages or 1-car garage or, wood flooring so those can be a little tricky. And I can explain that on our consultation when we have it. But we would do that. So you're going to start getting live status emails of when a house comes on the market that fits your criteria. You're going to get a message that says, hey, this house just came on the market. It fits what you're looking for. You look at the pictures. If it's a house you like, we go see the house. We'll schedule the appointment. We'll go see the house. I'll go with you. I'll open the house. We'll review it. If it's something you like, then we kind of go into a little further detail as far as how do we make your offer? How do we make an offer and get it accepted, right? So if we end up seeing a house that you like, I will come back, do my due diligence as your realtor and figure out some information, right? I'll run CMA, comparable market analysis. I'll run a CMA. So I'll contact the agent to see what the motive is for the seller, see if I can get some information there. So I'll gather up some information and advise you what the best way what the best way to structure our offer would be, to make it strong. I'll find out if they're in multiple offer situations or if we're not, which will actually help structure as well. So there's a lot of information that I'll gather, and then I'll say, hey, this is the information that I've gathered. This is where I feel we should be with your offer. What do you guys feel like? What were you guys talking about? What do you guys feel is the best for you guys? Then we'll work that out, submit the offer, and then hopefully get that accepted, right? What happens if we do submit an offer, Hector, and the offer is accepted? What happens then is we enter what's called an option period. An option period is just a period of days that you pay for that allows you to back out of the contract for whatever reason in that period of time. And obviously you lose your option fee, but you don't lose anything else, right? You don't lose your earnest money. Now I'll tell you the difference between that. Earnest money is typically 1% of the sales price. It typically goes to title so they can start working on all the things they need. And then the option fee, here we're I don't want to say we're kind of going back to where we were. I would say option fees, you'll see anywhere from 100 to up above. I don't want to put a cap on it because I've seen $2,000 options. But typically normal, you'll see 200 to 500. And that will be anywhere for like 3 to 7 day option period. I'm starting to see a little more 10 days again, but typically you're looking between 3 to 7 days, right? So that means in that option period, if you get cold feet, if you lose your job, if you decided that you don't like the house anymore, I mean, for whatever reason, if you want to back out, you can back out in the option period and you don't lose your earnest money. You just lose the option fee, that $200 or $300 that we put up. What happens also during the option period is we want to get the home inspected. So I'll provide you guys with several home inspection companies. You guys can contact, schedule the home inspection. And then if there's anything that comes out on it, then we'll negotiate repairs during the option period. I'd say about 95% of the time I've negotiated repairs. Very few that the seller doesn't want to negotiate, we've backed out, unfortunately. But the majority of the time, as long as the repairs are reasonable repairs, and what I mean by reasonable is, I'll talk to you here in the next slide, just reasonable repairs. And since I mentioned it, let's just go to the next slide, right? So yeah, so how I look at an inspection and how I set the expectations with my buyers is don't sweat the small stuff. And I'm going to explain what I mean. There's always going to be something that comes out on an inspection report. New construction homes get inspected and have things come out on an inspection home. So just imagine a 1980 home or a 1990 or 2000 or 2010, a 2021. You're always going to, there's always going to be things that are going to come out in the inspection report. Now I look at it this way. I look at it as buying a pre-owned home, right? The same as buying a used car, right? Obviously, price points are way different, right? You know, you're comparing 20,000 to 400,000 or 30,000 to 400,000 or whatever. But if you go buy a used car, you want to make sure the framing of the car is actually in decent shape, right? You're not going to buy a car that has the side door smashed in or the front smashed in, you know, especially if you're going to use it on a day-to-day, right? So you want to make sure the framing of the home or of the car or the vehicle is in good shape. So for me, that's the roof. So we want to make sure the roof is in good shape. You want to make sure that the engine is running, right? And if it has a noise, a clanking noise, you want to get that inspected right before purchasing or get it fixed before purchasing. Same thing for me, the engine's the foundation. We want to make sure the foundation of the home is good, right? We want to make sure the HVAC, the heating and cooling, the air is working in your vehicle, right? Especially in Texas heat, like now, you want to make sure your air conditioning in your vehicle is working. So we want to make sure the HVAC system in the home is working. Now, there's some electrical stuff in the vehicle that you want to make sure are working, especially if there's safety features like brakes, turning signals, headlights. Those are some electrical things that you want working in the vehicle. Now, if the radio doesn't work, you can probably purchase the vehicle and then fix the radio later, right? Same thing with the home. There are some electrical things that are safety issues that we want to make sure. Now, if this light bulb was out in my room, it's going to come out in the inspection report, but it might be as easy as just changing the bulb, right? So we have to verify that. Same thing with some water. Cars typically don't have a lot of water issues, but coolant, right? It's similar plumbing. I'd consider that kind of plumbing stuff, radiator stuff. But if it was the windshield wipers that, the right side wiper didn't spray out, then that's probably something you can fix later on. Same thing with plumbing, right? So we do have some plumbing concerns. If there's an active leak in the kitchen, under the kitchen sink, that's something we want to take a look at, right? If the toilet commode is loose, that's going to come on the report, but that's just tightening up the bolts and probably recaulking, right? So just depends what it is. So don't sweat the small stuff. Once again, I've seen inspection reports with 4 or 5 pages long, and I've seen inspection reports with 1.5 pages. And trust me, the less the pages, the better report it is. So you're always going to see stuff. I think the least I've seen on an inspection report is probably like 20 items. But out of those 20 items, probably 1 or 2 were kind of major things, and the other 18 were maintenance related items. So you don't want to get those confused. So, but that's how I set up the expectation of my buyers. And we've done a pretty good job of being able to negotiate the important things. And how does that work? I know you're probably asking, how does that work? So we'll either negotiate for the seller to repair all those, or in some instances, let's say the seller has already moved out of town, so it's going to be an issue for them to coordinate all those repairs. They might actually give you money in lieu of the repairs, right? And that's something we would have to come out with. They might say, hey, you're asking for this stuff, so instead of doing all those, we'll actually give you $5,000 in closing costs, so then you guys can eventually do it. So we'll either negotiate seller completing repairs or money in lieu of repairs. So keep that in mind. After we get out of that, we are talking about hitting the appraisal, which will happen right after option, and then final bank approval. If you're already pre-approved, though, this process is skipped. You're already approved, so it's a lot quicker. So typical closing, what that looks like from the day we execute a contract to closing day, it's about 30 days on the typical. Some lenders can do less than 30. Some do a little more. It could be about 45 days. So just depends on the lender. But it's really just appraisal, final bank approval. We will do a final walkthrough of the home a couple days prior to closing to make sure everything's good, and then we close. Day of closing, we will have to wait till we're funded by the lender to get the keys. What that means is if you guys sign at 9 a.m., seller signs at 10 a.m., all those documents are sent to the lender. Lender makes sure that everything is signed and is in good standing, and then they will release the wire for the amount of the sales. Once title receives that, we have funded and the house is yours. If we close at 3 or 4 in the afternoon, funding might not take place until the next day, right? And I don't want to get too into detail about it, because if we fund on Friday at 5 in the afternoon, you might not be able to move in till Monday because we haven't funded, so you're officially not the owner. So, but those are just some other quirks that we can work out. So once again, that's pretty much what for me are those 6 steps to the buying process. Let me pop out of here. Actually, let me show you the screen real quick of some of the local lenders that I utilize. Christina Ponte with Cardinal Financial. Her contact information is there. I have Jason Rasmussen with Supreme Lending. And then I do have Daileng Hernandez with New Frontier Financial. So 3 local lenders that I've utilized. Why I recommend local lenders is I can actually reach out to any 3 of these lenders at any time, at any day, a Saturday at 4 in the afternoon. And if I reach out to any of these lenders because I need some documents or need something from them, it's pretty easier for me to get in contact with them on a weekend and weeknights or weekday nights than it would be going through a bank. Bank's a little harder. I don't want to say it's too hard to get, but it's local lenders are a lot more available. Another thing with that is banks specialize in, in their bank accounts, selling their accounts, credit checking accounts, savings accounts, and all that. Not that they're not good for home mortgages, not that they're not good for mortgages, but local lenders like Supreme Lending, Cardinal Financial, Frontier, they specialize in home mortgages. So they'll provide better service at the end of the day. And that's what we want. We want to provide you with the best service that we can to help this process, to alleviate the stress and help you through this process and help you get through the process with all questions answered and in a timely manner. So let me kind of get away from here, go back to the original screen. Once again, I want to thank the HR group with Keller Williams Realty, Southlake, for sponsoring. For those of you who don't know, obviously that's my group. So thank you for the HR group. We also do have here, obviously, the Double Play podcast. If it's your first time listening to the podcast, it will be Let's Talk About Real Estate. So I have two podcasts that go on every week. That's why it's called Double Play. But every Tuesdays at noon, it's our Let's Talk About Real Estate podcast. Today I was here solo. Next week I should have somebody on. I haven't confirmed, but it's going to be either a lender, home warranty, roofing, home inspector. It's going to be a company that's going to come on, and we can ask them questions and they can talk to us about their processes. We do have a Let's Talk About Sports on Thursdays at 6 p.m. So every Thursday at 6 p.m. we talk about sports. This Thursday, I can guarantee that we're going to be talking about the NBA Finals and congratulating the Denver Nuggets for their championship victory last night. So once again, thank you guys all for stopping by. Thank you guys for viewing the content or viewing my podcast. I do want to go ahead and finish with with Barbara's video again. Hold on. I do want to go ahead and share Barbara's video one more time so you guys can see it, and then we'll finish with that.
Let me tell you something else. What's holding everybody back is
hold on a second.
every day of my life is now a good time to buy a house. And you know what? Nobody thinks it is, but I'm going to tell you something else. What's holding everybody back is the higher interest rates. They don't seem so high to me. So I remember 18, 19%. So remember, they could go higher. But the most important thing is once you wait until interest rates go down, all hell is going to break loose. Everybody who's been thinking about buying a house is going to be out looking and overbidding every house. The prices are going to go through the roof. So pick your poison. High interest rates now, which aren't so high, or super high prices once they come down. Your choice.
Thank you to Barbara for that video. Once again, it's something that I have preached in the last year to some of my buyers. Don't wait. If you wait, you're going to be in bidding wars. It's going to be tough. So it's never the bad time to buy the right house. Just remember that. Marry the home, date the interest rate. Thank you guys for joining. I'll see you guys next week. Let's talk about real estate. Bye-bye. Take care.